All right. Hello, hello. I'm just streaming this over to YouTube and making sure that we are recording it for anyone who couldn't make it live. Thank you everyone for being here and coming to hang out with me for a little bit. I'm so excited to give you a little bit of a sneak peek, a tour behind the scenes of the Stitch Society membership. And we have some special guests who want to share their thoughts with you too. But first, I'm going to tell you everything that's included and all that it is about. And I want to start off by just saying that if you have upgraded to the Happy Knitters Toolkit, then in the classroom is a place where you can activate your free first 30 days in the membership. And for everyone else, you get the gift of 14 days to give it a try. So I have those links. I'll share those with you all as well. And I'm excited to dive in. I want to just quickly check the chat and then we will get started. So there shouldn't be no more waiting room. So if you need to hop off and come back, then you should be able to do that. So hello, everyone. Hi to Anita and Pamela and Josephine and JJ and Sue and Kate and Francine and Cindy and Sarah and Patty and Melanie. Melanie says, I'm so excited that I can actually attend the live events this time. That's awesome. I'm so glad you're here. Rita and Jen and Barbara and Anna and Terry um, and all our friends joining us here in the chat. So hello, hello, everyone. I have slides I'm going to share and I'm going to talk through it all with you. But if you have any questions at all, please feel free to share more in ask the questions in the chat or the Q&A, and I will do my best to make sure I answer any question that you might have. And if you don't feel comfortable asking rather on Zoom, feel free to send me an email and I would love to talk more about it with you. It really is, it's kind of at the heart of everything that I do. I do love the summit and that is such a big boost. But it is, the rest of the stuff that the Stitch Society is, it makes my month twice a month we get together on Zoom, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. And Lee Ann says, first time at the summit and excited to learn more about Stitch Society as I have been a lone wolf knitter. So that is kind of a little bit about why I created the membership. So let me go over to share my screen and I will tell you all about it. So there we are. And that window I can put down at the bottom and find the right window is always a challenge. Anyone else always have a million windows open? Um, all right. So, again, for anyone who doesn't know me personally, and you came because another one of our speakers invited you, I want to share a little bit about who I am and what I do. So, my name is Jessica Ayes, and I am the knitwear designer, the instructor, the founder of Double the Stitches, and the creator of this membership, the Stitch Society, and the proud host of our summit, the Knit Happy Summit. And like I said, feel free to ask questions in the chat. Before we dive in, yeah, so my mission is kind of about making the art of knitting approachable, enjoyable, and empowering for makers of all experience levels. Through practical resources, supportive teaching, and our vibrant community, I help knitters build the skills, grow their confidence, and discover some more joy in every stitch. And that's how I came to Knit Happy, just that message of joy and pride and enjoyment, getting that out of our knitting. Over the years, I have worked in my local yarn store and I have taught in my local libraries. And one thing that I have found is that there are a lot of lone wolf knitters, as our friend mentioned earlier before. There's a lot of people that don't really have anyone in their life that understands their love of yarn and knitting. A lot of people who live very far from a yarn store, and even if they do get to visit occasionally, it's not on a frequent basis. And so this goes back to during COVID times. I came across this. I was home with my kids doing remote schooling and feeling kind of isolated. Before that, I was working in my local yarn store. And so I was part of this wonderful community of knitters. And then all of a sudden, I was home. And I didn't really have, anyone in my personal life that understands my love for yarn, my love for knitting, my love for creating. I am very lucky. I have a supportive husband, but even as supportive as he is a little bit like Earl in this comic. This is the Pickles comic from Brian Crane, and it details the lives of Earl and Opal Pickle. And she is a crafter. She knits, she crochets. And so there he is leaning over the couch and asking her, "What are you knitting?" And so she answers, "A scarf." And he says, "Oh, how do you even do that without looking?" And she says, "Are you really interested in how I do it?" And his answer is, "No, but I am pretending I'm interested. Isn't that worth something?" And it absolutely is worth something, but it's not quite the same as someone who really gets it, who understands the language of knitting, the what drives us to knit, to create, all of that. And yes, Sharon says, "Love the side eye from the cat." And yeah, so let me just grab that window again. So why did I create the membership? I created it with you in mind, but also myself, to be completely honest, as a fellow knitter. I understand the frustration of spending hours searching for help online, asking questions in those big, gigantic Facebook groups, sometimes even being criticized for just asking a simple question, and sometimes getting really bad advice. I know the feeling of being disconnected from a community. I don't know why my phone it keeps making noises, but we're gonna see if I can. It shouldn't be making noises. Oh, that's why, because it's not plugged in. It's plugged into a different thing. If I plug it in, it will stop yelling at me. Sorry, friends. Um, so I know the feeling of being disconnected from the yarn community, wishing and dreaming and hoping to find like-minded individuals just like you and me who create because we couldn't imagine not creating because we're driven to it, inspired by it, because we need the outlet, because it calms our mind, because it keeps our hands busy, because it makes us feel peaceful, because it makes us feel fulfilled that we are putting our creative energy and effort into creating something. And some days for me, it's the only thing that keeps me sane. So I wanted to create a solution that combines yarn and knitting education, community connection, and camaraderie, and put it all kind of in one place. And when I came across this comic strip, it reminded me of exactly why I built the membership. So, who is this really for? So, it is for knitters who are seeking the camaraderie of knitting circles. You've been knitting alone for too long and crave the companionship of like minded friends, the opportunity to talk as much as you want about your knitting, about your projects, about your wins, about your struggles, and not only get feedback, but someone who truly understands the struggles. And speaking of struggles, knitters struggling with complex patterns, maybe you feel like you need a supportive community to help you decode those tricky instructions without spending hours and hours going down that YouTube rabbit hole. Maybe you are a knitter who has unfinished projects. Are you one of those? Do you have multiple half done pieces? If you're looking for some accountability, some motivation, and the focus to finally complete more of them, then the Stitch Society might be for you. It's also for social butterflies who enjoy collaborative projects, make alongs, knit alongs, working together, thriving when you are working with others and feeling motivated by sharing your progress and seeing other people making progress. So if that's you, we've got you. And knitters who struggle a little bit with pattern comprehension. So you'll also gain access to some of my cheat sheets and resources, and a designer who really does care about your knitting success, along with our community of knowledgeable knitting peers. So I always say when we get together, we have stitch sessions twice a month, and I always say, like, I know, I would say I know a lot about knitting, but I know that I don't know everything. And as long as I've been knitting and as much as I know, there is a lot that I don't know. And so one of the beautiful things is that other members in our community will also share their advice, their tips, their tricks, their solutions, because I haven't encountered every situation, and maybe there's someone in the community that does. So my goal is not for my voice to be the only one when we gather together and talk about what we're working on and struggles that we are having. So that's another beautiful thing that is really special to me. More recently, one of our members, Laura, she wanted to share how she joins a new ball of yarn. And so while we were on Zoom together in the group, she demonstrated her technique for doing it, and I recorded it and I added it to our classroom so that that can live on and can help fellow knitters. And of course, you want to know what is actually included in the membership. So, as part of the summit with the toolkit, you get 30 days free to give it a try. With outside of the toolkit, you get 14 days to give it a try. And I'll give you the links for activating those before we leave today. You get two social stitch sessions on Zoom every month. That trial link is for the 14-day trial. For the 30-day, it is in your classroom where when you log in to access your toolkit, there's a section in there that says Stitch Society membership. We also have, so we have two social stitch sessions on Zoom every month. We have members only discounts from some indie dyers and other brands. You get a code for a pattern every month. When I first started the membership, I gave you whatever my newest design was that month. And it occurred to me over time that maybe I am releasing a pattern for a shawl, but you're just not a shawl person. And you want to knit a baby blanket for someone, in your world that is expecting a new little one. And so it made more sense to me to provide a code for you that you can redeem for any of my patterns. I think I'm at over 70 designs right now, so that you could knit something that meets your knitting journey, where you are, what it is that's on your mind that you would like to create, rather than just gathering a collection of things that maybe you'll cast on eventually. So rather than that, I wanted you to be able to cast on whatever excites you in that moment. You also get priority pattern support on my patterns. So if there's something that you're struggling with, then I will talk you through it. Sometimes it is over email. Sometimes it is a video that I will share. I keep my handy dandy hands camera nearby, and so I will turn it on and record a video if I feel like the video will be more will make it easier for you to understand my explanation. And there's also I think it's over 500 now dollars in skill building workshops. So we'll talk about those as well. Everything from lace to cables to brioche and double knitting and the art of shawl knitting and sweater school and all kinds of great stuff. So what is amazing that is inside this membership? So again, you get a pattern every month, priority pattern support. Twice a month, we gather on Zoom, and you have access also to my Fiber Friends interviews and events. So those are in the classroom. And once the summit wraps up, I'm going to begin adding more of those. Speaking of the classroom, so there is an online home for the membership. So if you have the toolkit or the extended access pass, then you've already gotten a peek at what the classroom actually looks like. And I will show you a little tour of that as well. It is kind of a home base for everything. So for the Stitch and Technique library that's always growing, all the workshops that you have access to, recordings, replays of Fiber Friends interviews, our calendar, all kinds of stuff is in there. And I'm just going to quickly check on the chat before I keep going and see if there are any questions. There is a question in the chat asked, is it just for knitters or for crocheters? So I was a crocheter before I was a knitter, but I found that I really loved designing and teaching knitting more than crochet. So inside the classroom, the workshops, all of those are knit focused things, but crocheters are always welcome. And we very often, when we get together on a Zoom, there's usually a few of us that are crocheting. And so you wouldn't be the only crocheter in the group. Many of us, many in the community do both, myself included. And so you're welcome to join, but the workshops and that content is generally geared for knitting. And someone asked, is it possible to pause the subscription if you are on vacation or unable to participate for a month? So yes, I do have that option to pause up to 3 months is per like calendar year is, whoop, let me see if I can find. Okay. So there is that option like once every, 12-month period. You can pause it if you'll be out of town or unable to participate. There's a form where you can do that. So yes, yes, it is possible. There's a form for you to fill out, and then we can pause it, and then it will automatically resume after that time period is up. And wonderful friends, thank you for sharing the love in the chat. I wish I could highlight these on the screen. You guys are so wonderful. Yes, it is an addiction. Absolutely, Scott. And so Dana said the Stitch Society is so helpful. If you have a question, they will jump in and help so quickly. And she also continued, I have said it before, and I will say it again, Jessica is the best teacher. She is patient and very student oriented, will always show both continental and English ways to knit new skills. And Janet says, Stitch Society is great. So glad I joined. It is a safe and happy place to be. And Francine, who joined us, I think after the last summit, says Jessica's an awesome teacher. She takes the time to answer your questions, make videos for it. And the members are there to help too and cheer on your progress. Carol says, is there a yearly subscription that will be more economical? Yes. So there are options. So if you sign up for the trial, or if you'd like just to jump straight in, that's okay too, but you can sign up for the trial and then we can switch you over after. So there is, if you want to sign up for a year at a time, instead of paying monthly, you would end up getting 2 months free. And I will talk about that as well. Thank you, Anita. And Donna asked, are the Zooms held at the same day and time each month? So because we are an international group from all over the US, we have members in Canada, Mexico, and also around the globe, members in Austria and the UK. So time zones are challenging, friends. And we also have different schedules that we work on, whether maybe you're available during the day, maybe you are available in the weekends, maybe the evenings are better, maybe weekdays, weekend days are better for you. So what I have come up with, and this has worked, the membership has been around for about just over 4.5 years now. We just celebrated 4 years in December. So there are 2 each month. One is typically during the week, and based on what my schedule allows, I do those in the evening. So 7:00 p.m. Eastern time. And I generally alternate between a Tuesday or a Thursday evening. And then to accommodate our UK friends and people who are busy during the week, one of them is on a weekend afternoon. So it's not too late for Kay in London, and so that we can get together at an earlier time of the day. So those are usually 2:00-ish, 2 or 3:00 on a Saturday or Sunday. And again, I alternate those days as well. Cindy says, if you are a detail-oriented person, you will love Jessica's thoroughness and in teaching and running events. And Leslie says, it's the most friendly, encouraging, and supportive group. Jessica is very kind, friendly, and a patient teacher. And the classroom has so many resources and videos. All right, I'm going to drop the link in the chat for the free trial. So it's knithappysummit.com/trial. And one last comment I'm going to read, and I'm going to go back to sharing my slides. So Mary says, I often can't make the live Zooms, but Society is well worth it anyway. There are so many classes on the site, and Jessica's a fantastic teacher, as others have said. Thank you all. She's patient, kind, and knowledgeable. And when I have joined the lives, I'm impressed. It's not just about chatting and learning. Everyone is so kind and helpful. And Cindy says, the Zooms are the icing on the cake. I love that very much. So besides the workshops, we also have an extra Zoom room. So on my Zoom account, there is like a chit chat Zoom room that you can, if you choose to, make plans with fellow members and get together outside of the scheduled Zooms that I put on my calendar. So maybe Tuesdays at 7 o'clock are not good for you, but maybe a Wednesday at noon is better. So you can post in our private community and say, does anyone want to get together on Wednesday at noon? And make sure you include the time zone because we are global, and others can then join you in that room. But I would suggest, though, that you coordinate with other members. I do ask that you don't use the Zoom for outside of the membership, but you're always welcome to connect with our fellow members and forge new friendships and celebrate and share your projects and seek advice. So we talked all about that stuff. Future workshops while you're a member are also included. You also get member-only voting power. What that means is sometimes I am deciding on what workshop to teach next, or I can't decide between two different yarns or two different stitch patterns for something that I'm working on. So I will often pop into the group and ask members for their thoughts. This is optional, but you do get early access to my pattern testing calls for my knitting patterns. You are not obligated or required to test my patterns, but it is an option. Some people like to kind of peek behind the curtain a little bit like we're doing here today and understand kind of the process that things go after the pattern has gone through tech editing, the actual process of knitting it, and sharing their feedback and helping me improve the pattern, make it better for fellow knitters. And like I mentioned, we have our exclusive members only Facebook community. It is that is where the community is hosted. It is optional if you don't do Facebook, that's okay. So when we add up everything that's included, you get a pattern every month, which is an $8 to $10 value. You get 2 monthly private stitch sessions, meaning members only, priority pattern support on my patterns, Fiber Friends interviews and events, which are coming back, friends, Stitch Society, Stitch and Technique library access, and the access to use my Zoom for unlimited Zoom chats. So $103 plus per month, over $1,200 in value every year with some quick math. So these are some of the workshops that are included in the membership. The beginner's guide to lace knitting. So you'll discover the basic stitches used to create elegant lace knitting, understand lace knitting symbols in charts, learn to decode a knitting chart so you don't have to work from pages and pages and pages of written instructions or know a secret language. Learn how to read your stitches to help you easily find where you are in a pattern, even when there are distractions. Learn how I use lifelines, why you need them. They will save you so much stress. How to block your knitting and why you should, and I'll show you the difference. And this one in chart reading comes up all the time. Have you ever wondered what those gray no stitch boxes mean on a chart? So I will explain everything so that they make sense. And this is, all of these are not like summit workshops. The summit workshops are 20 to 30 minute workshops. Some of these are like 90-minute workshops, like the lace knitting. The cable workshop was a challenge that we did, and I think it was over 5 days. So each day was about an hour of a session. So there's a lot of information in there. Learn to knit cables, learn how to knit reversible cables. So your knitting is beautiful on both sides of your work, how to fix cable mistakes, how to count rows between cables so you can stay on track, even when there are distractions. Can you tell I get a lot of distractions? I have twin boys, so yes. And how to decode a cable knitting chart as well. I am on Sunday. This is included for everyone attending the workshop. I am teaching a live masterclass, the Oops, Learn to Fix Your Own Mistakes class. But I do also have a version in the classroom, but come on Sunday and I will show you live how to fix the most common mistakes we all make when knitting, including errors in patterning, knits that should be purls and vice versa, drop stitches, missing yarn overs, accidental yarn overs, missed decreases, and more. You'll save hours and hours of time spent on doing your work. It is, for me, the most empowering thing that I have ever learned in my own knitting. We also have the brioche workshop, a taste of brioche. So there's a wonderful session during the summit, but this is more of a deep dive. So there's 3 different projects that we go over, and you're learning how to knit brioche in the round. I also cover some common mistakes and troubleshooting, and learn how to read your stitches, understand brioche charts, learn how to knit brioche stitch flat in 2 colors, different cast on methods that you can use for brioche knitting, some variations in brioche like fisherman's rib and the V-stitch, brioche increases and decreases. The final project is a hat. So that has decreases to shape the crown. There's also the Double Dare Double Knitting Workshop. Again, we have a wonderful presentation as part of the summit. This was a challenge that we did over 3 days, 5 days, I don't remember offhand. And we talk about picking yarn, how to work with 2 colors to create the squishy, fluffy, characteristic. Sorry, that's from Brioche. Reading the wrong notes. So the double-sided reversible fabric that is part of double knitting. And there are other workshops as well. So I have a flawless cast-ons and bind-offs class, the art of shawl knitting, and sweater school. So let me just check on the chat on you all. And Bridget asked, is it for UK also 2 times in the month on a better time? So the weekend session, which is at 2 o'clock Eastern in New York, is my hope to accommodate friends that are in the UK. There's 2 total sessions per month. Let me see if there's any questions. I'd like to deep dive for the next 30 days. Yeah, so with the toolkit, you get 30 days. It's in the classroom for you. Let me just see. Do I have a guide to gauge a swatch for circular knitting? So I do have a lesson on that, and I need a shared one in the chat. Thank you for managing the chat. Double the distractions, yes. Kathy says Jessica's generosity knows no bounds. And Laura said Stitch Society is good for fiber friends of all skill levels. She says, I'm 75 and a fiber friend for over 70 years. I'm an expert in knit, crochet. I dabble in tatting, spinning, felting, and weaving. That being said, I really enjoy this group. I always learn something new, and I'm glad to help others when they need it. Jessica's patience and way of teaching has helped me learn new ways to explain and help my knitting friends who meet weekly. And I had a summer holiday countdown that was very helpful also. And can we wait 2 weeks to start the 2-week trial? I'm going on vacation, would like to try the full 2 weeks. So I think it is available to start until like the 24th, I think, is when all the carts close. Can we vary when we start our 30-day trial? I'm gonna check on that. But I think the 30-day trial I have in the classroom when all the speaker bonuses expire, which is June 24th. So you can start a little bit later if that helps, Scott. Deb says, I joined after the last summit. It was during a dark period in my life. The Stitch Society has been just the thing to lift me up. I haven't knitted for years, and this community has brought me back to my creative space. Jessica is an awesome teacher, makes herself available to the best of her ability. The value of the Stitch Society goes well beyond the price. Whoop, it bumped, it jumped. Let me find that again. Of becoming a member. This is not to mention the members in the group also provide a wealth of information and support. And a question in the QA. If a new member, do we get access to past workshops? So yes, Lisa, you get access to the past workshops. All of those that I listed, you get access to everything. And so how much is the Stitch Society membership? So after your trial period, whether that is the 14 days or the 30 days, the monthly price is $34 per month. You can join for 6 months instead if you would prefer to prepay for 6 months. That is $187 per month. So it works out, you get one free month per year when you pay in 6 month installments. Or you can join for a year. Someone asked about this earlier. So then it is $340 per year, less than $1 a day. And I will put the link up on the screen also. So that is knithappysummit.com/trial. Will get you your first 14 days free. But I have some friends that wanted to share their thoughts with you on being in the membership. So I am going to stop sharing my screen if I can find the right window. And then we'll see if anyone, if you would like to join me on screen, raise your hand. I don't want to call on anyone who doesn't want to. Cindy, I will add you. Hi, Cindy.
I
Hi.
let me okay. I'm gonna have to leave in a couple minutes. So that's why I wanted to jump in. I just wanted to say that this is the third summit I've done, and I was really like the first time I heard about the Stitch Society, I just wasn't sure about things, and I don't know whether it just wasn't a good time in my world to do it. But now that I've been a member for like 2 years, I wished I had joined earlier. But everything everybody has said that Jessica has read off really covers it all. I love the Zoom sessions. Like I said, they're the icing on the cake for me to get to be there in person, and it's as much in person as I get to do with anything in my life. Again, because of some life circumstances that I'm living, and it's just nice to have a group of people that are kind of like my people that know what I'm doing and understand, and I have so many questions regarding knitting, and I always seem to come up with so many issues. And it's not just Jessica, but everybody else in the membership that jumps in, whether it's finding a phone number for me for Lion Brand Yarn, or Jessica creating a special video for me to figure out how to not have floats going across a lot of my yarn overs on a specific pattern that I was working on. It's really nice. And I enjoy everything about it. I just wish I had more time to really deep dive and learn everything that is available for me to learn. So that's pretty much what I have to say. If you're on the fence and you can swing it, do it. It's been a really good thing for me. I really enjoy it.
Thank you. It means so much when you show up because I know that life you have, your personal circumstances that don't always make it easy for you to be there. So it's always a joy to be there to help you, to answer your questions. And like Cindy said, so she was struggling with a pattern, and that was one of those things where I could have written out like my answer, my explanation, but it was so much easier, faster for me to actually just turn on the camera, film, and like, this is how you do the thing. Then sometimes it takes longer to actually write something out than it does to demonstrate. And so that's such a joy for me. And then those videos go into our classroom because maybe that's something someone else is struggling with. So thank you so much for being here and for sharing your kind words.
Sure, you're welcome. Thank you. And sorry, I'm gonna have to run off. I've got, other duties to attend
Other
to.
duties, yes. Thank you for
All
being.
right. See you, everyone.
And let's go in the order that I see you. So I see Anne and you.
Uh, as Cindy mentioned, I was also on the fence. This is I think, my third summit with Jessica, and I've done some other summits, but I can't believe it's only been about a year and a half. But when I first heard about the Stitch Society, I was thinking, well, spending that much per month, I'd rather buy yarn. Um, and I'm a retiree on a fixed income, so it was definitely, something I had to think about. But each summit, I would join the free trial, and during the last one, I think it was last November, um, I was one of the monthly uh, stitch sessions was going on during the trial, and I joined in that. And I was still, I'm just going to enjoy the trial and then drop out, whatever. But there was just something that happened, and I can't put my finger on anything precise. But during that stitch session, I thought, I want part of this. And I joined. And I haven't looked back. I'm so glad I did. I've taken advantage of several of the workshops and several of the knit-alongs. Um, Even did a test knit, and it's been wonderful. And I would encourage anyone to, you know, even if you just want to sign up for an extra month. I went ahead and did the year at a time, but I'm thrilled that I did, and I would encourage anybody else to do so as well.
Oh, thank you, Anne. Thank you. And I know you posted such a sweet message in the summit group too. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, the benefit for, the annual, besides that you save money, is that you don't have to think about it.
Oh, true.
You don't have to think about the rebills coming and all of that. So it's less paperwork. I always take an annual for whatever I'm signing up for if it's an option. I love that option to save a little bit and it's a gift. It's commitment to myself. It's a commitment to an investment in learning for me. And I hope that is the same for you. So
And
thank
I
you.
also just thought of one other thing I wanted to add, because I have only had one cast on for almost 60 years. And it was your explanation, Jessica, of how to do a long tail cast on that finally made sense to me. And now I can do the long tail cast on and the German twisted because of your instructions.
Oh,
And, you know, it, I echo what others have said. You're the best teacher I've ever come across for the clarity of your teaching.
oh, that really means a lot. Thank you. I try.
And you succeed.
Thank you for sharing, and I really appreciate it. And I see a few more hands. I see Kate and Rita and Deb. So we'll go kind of in that order. And then I'll give you a tour of what the classroom actually looks like for those of you who don't have the toolkit and aren't really sure. I want to make sure that you see and understand how that all works. Hi, Kate. Oop, I got you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kate. I joined after the last summit and I have been knitting mostly with groups for about the last 20 years, but I never did more than just small, like scarves, cowls. Um, I tried a sweater class, but it was in a shop and it ended before I got done. And then there was no help with the rest of it. So it just went in the closet. And I did that so many different times and never really learned anything. And I just got really inspired by the summit and Jessica, and I dove in and it's been really, really good to learn from her and the other members. And everybody is really helpful. And I just feel like I'm finally able to learn. Like I actually am learning different techniques, different skills, and I haven't done the sweater yet, but that's my goal.
Oh, I like that.
So yeah, so I just really encourage everybody to give it a shot, whether it's the trial or signing up. It's just really been helpful and wonderful experience. I live alone, so it's really nice to do the social knittings too. So thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Yeah, one of the things I will say, having taught in person, in yarn stores, I teach in person. I run a group in my local library, and there's a lot that you can learn when you are like in person side by side, right? There's a big benefit to someone being able to take your hands and manipulate them if you're doing something wrong and correct something for you. But at the same time, there is also a lot of benefits to that online learning, um, where it's on the computer. It has, there's the live sessions where you can ask questions, and then there's access to the replays where you can pause and rewind and knit along, and you get ongoing access. So that is, something that Kate touched on, where you can take a sweater class, you can, or any type of class. And then once that class is over, you no longer have access to those lessons, to that instructor. You can't go back when you're working on that project or you want to work on it again and you don't remember something, to be able to have access to bring up that video again and watch it again anytime. If you are a 3 a.m. knitter, I am probably fast asleep in my bed, but you can watch the videos anytime. So that's a big benefit as well. Sue asked, where do I give the library lessons? I'm on Long Island in New York. Are you nearby, Sue? And I see Rita and Deb and Laura and Pamela. Thank you all for being here. I'm gonna add Rita. Hi, Rita. Oop.
So, just like everyone else has said, you are an amazing teacher. I have learned so much from watching your videos and these live sessions with you. It's unbelievable. I've been knitting pretty much since I was a kid. My mom taught me and my sisters to do knit and crochet. Most of my life I did crochet because it was faster. And I wasn't a very patient person. As I've gotten older, I've gotten more patient. So I've picked up the knitting again. And there were things that I wanted to try, and I'd watch videos and videos and videos and just couldn't get it. And then I did the trial, and it's like, that's how that works. Now I get it. And it was great. And I've been here ever since, and I don't plan on going anywhere.
Thank you. I love having you. Thank you for sharing that. One of the things, people are talking about the teaching, and I'm not trained as, an educator exactly, but I come from a family of teachers. So maybe, I don't know if it's genetic or something that's just, was taught, how things were explained to me as a child. And I have children, I have twins, and they each have their own, struggles educationally. And something that, occurred to me when they were little, and things like, how do you put on your shoe, or telling a child to go put their shoes on. So you can do that. And some children will know exactly what that means, and they will just go and get their shoes and put them on. And then there are some people who need things broken down into little tiny steps. It's not just go put your shoes on, it's let's go get your socks and put your socks on. And then we're going to get the shoes, and then we're going to untie the shoes and loosen them up and put the foot in the shoe. And then we're going to tighten the shoe. And then we're going to learn to tie our shoes, because we can't learn to tie until the sock is on and the foot is in and all of those things. So just thinking about, that's when I'm teaching, is I try to think about things in that way, that like, what's the next tiny step that someone needs to learn in order to successfully, do the thing. So we talked to Rita. I see Deb and Laura and Pamela. Hi, Deb.
Hello. So, yeah, pretty much everyone before me said the things I wanted to say, but and then you just spoke to having the recordings available. So my routine as the queen of works in progress, um, I I get so much from doing the Zoom sessions and because I'm slow comprehending things. So I go to the Zooms and I listen to everyone, and the live chats are so that in itself is so informative. Plus, it's a community. When I joined, it was after the last summit. That was my first summit. I had retaken up crochet and did some crocheting after I had open heart surgery and complications. So, and then the knit summit came up, and I was like, oh, do I want to get back into knitting? But I did, and I did the summit, and the summit was awesome in and of itself. I mean, that was just super. And then I did the trial, and there's just so much. And the point I'm was trying to make was the Zooms are great to listen to. Like I can't knit and listen and read a chat line all at once. I get there, I get the information. Sometimes I'll take notes, but then the recordings are there so I can go back. And Jessica, for anyone out there who's wondering, she is fantastic. The rate that she teaches at is like perfect for everyone. And if you're like stuck on something, she'll pull out her knitting needles and start showing you online what to do. And I mean, it's like I'm a visual learner also, so the videos and the recordings are absolutely fantastic. And she puts, I mean, I can't imagine how she does the things she does. So
Oh, thank you so much,
so
Deb.
that's
I'm
it.
so glad you picked up your knitting again. I really am.
I am too, like I said, I don't finish things too quickly, but it's always there to go back to refer to your classes. The references to everything are all there. It's all there.
Thank you. That means a lot. I do my best. And that is the other thing is like if there's something that you are struggling with and I don't have the answer to, because I fully admit I don't have all the answers always, I will always go and try to find and try and get the answer. Laura, I see you have your hand raised. Hi.
Hi. What you read my comment before, and that pretty much that was me, because I know there's another Laura in the group too, and probably several more. But I wanted to say that I
Hey,
love how we
take off my shoe.
I
No
don't know how
Why?
Because
first,
it has something in it.
Oh, we'll take it out.
I
I
think
think
I got
but
it. Yeah. Okay.
here's something. But I don't know how we heard about it at first, but my friend Elise and I both took your double knitting workshop. That was a few years ago. And I had dabbled into double knitting before, but I was really just so impressed with how detail oriented you are, because, getting the edges straight and the cast on and the bind off, that's just like so important. And you really covered everything. And I was very impressed with that. So I signed up for the monthly thing and the Stitch Society. And I found I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the camaraderie. I enjoy sharing the knowledge that I know, which is pretty extensive. But I also always learn something new. And I'm happy to help other people, and I'm happy to learn new things. Always exciting to learn new things. And I really just like how detail oriented you are. Like you don't leave any stones uncovered. And if somebody does have a question about something, you address it. And within a short time, I forget how many months I paid monthly, but I remember I emailed you and said, can we just switch to yearly, because I don't want to be bothered with the bills every month. I'm really happy that I did. And thank you. And that's it.
Oh, thank you for sharing. I hope you're feeling better. I know you had a rough time.
This is the end of it. This is the third time that he's brought COVID home from work. My husband works in the ER, and this I haven't had a fever in 4 days now, but I'm still a little stuffy and ready for prime time yet. So
Yeah, well, that means even more that you're here, even though you're not feeling 100%. Thank you.
I was sleeping so much that I was doing idiot knitting, which is just like cast on like 20 stitches and make these strips and then making baby toys, like
Oh,
make just because I could fall asleep with it in my lap. So it's just like making strips like this and they curl on themselves. And then um
that's
and
so
I splice them together and then you weave them and then you end up with this, which is a really fun baby toy, but I could like fall asleep with it on the couch and it wouldn't matter where I was.
sorry.
Not a
Yeah,
lace pattern, it's easy. So that
awesome.
I should make this look like a COVID germ. I should put little nups on it or something.
Well, I hope you feel better. Thank you so much, Laura. I
Well,
see Pamela and Barbara. And then I want to give a quick tour of the actual classroom and make sure I answer. There's a couple questions I want to answer in the chat too. Hi, Pamela.
Hi, how are you today?
I am good.
Good. Well, I just wanted to let everybody know, um, I have always been one of those lone wolf knitters because there is no one around here that actually knits that I know. There's no good knit shops anywhere. Walmart's our closest yarn supplier. There's just no independent yarn shops. So I have actually learned so much by being part of the Stitch Society. You have provided a foundation that's just absolutely wonderful. If I had a problem, I could go to your lessons and search through and find what I needed. Um, and I've been knitting for over 50 years, but I had never made anything other than shawls, Afghans, hats, and I finally completed my first sweater, and I absolutely love it. And getting to actually, speak with other knitters and learn about these other yarns out there, which I knew were there. You look at the ads, but you don't hear anything about them really. Being part of the Knit Summits helps because you bring in the people to teach us about these other yarns and fibers and things to do. It's just the whole Knit Society has just been a wonderful foundation to build on. I may not always take part in the conversations, but it's like I'm actually a part of the conversation just by being there and getting to hear other people's thoughts on this. I absolutely love it. If anybody is even beginning to think about it, seriously consider it because it's very satisfying, it's uplifting, it's encouraging. And I don't know what I'd do without it. So I thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Pamela. Yeah, I think that there's a couple things. So the one is that there's a lot to be learned just by listening, right? Just by even maybe you're not having that same struggle in your knitting right at that moment, but being in the room and listening to what other people are talking about, knowledge kind of sticks sometimes. And we might recall, like, oh, I remember Susie was talking. There's no Susie that I can think of, but just, random name. So, I remember what Laura was talking about. And, and we kind of have that recall to think back sometimes to things. And then I will also say that not everyone always feels comfortable to be that person to raise their hand to ask a question. Like if we're doing maybe a knit along and working on the same kind of project together, not everyone, I was that very, very shy kid in school. And every report back, parent teacher conference report was, she's a pleasure to have in class, but she never raises her hand. So my
That
elementary
was me.
teachers would fall off their chair if they knew what I was up to now. But there's also the gift of going second sometimes. Someone else feels more comfortable raising their hand, asking a question, and there's a gift to not being that first person. So being in that room, being able to learn from others and starting to feel more comfortable asking questions because other people are, and it doesn't seem as scary because other people are doing it. So there's a gift there too, I think. So thank you.
There is.
And Barbara, and then I'm going to share the classroom. But thank you all so much for being here. This really, I put out the ask and I didn't know if anyone was going to say yes, but maybe they did. And you guys all showed up. So thank you so much.
Oops.
And Barbara, we lost you. You're back.
Yes, here I am. I've only been a member for 5 months, but it's been good for me. There is such a vast knowledge about knitting that never will occur to you if you're not in an environment where you can see what other people are doing. And that just starts all sorts of things in your mind clicking away. I had cataract surgery only 2.5, 3 years ago. So to get my eyesight back where I can see well enough to do close-up things has been a joy. And this has just been fun. I've done classes, I've done coterie shawl, treasured skein scarfette is in process. And what I find is because you're designing things, not only are you teaching, but you're thinking about the whole process from cast on to cast off. And I think that's truly what you get in being able to see the things online and see it as the project progresses. And it's okay if life happens and you can't be on schedule, because that is a way to go and catch yourself up or take the time you need to get the skills you need to do the process. So it's been really wonderful for me.
Wonderful. I see your beautiful scarf or cowl in the background
I
there.
know, and my sweater, and I did both of those in the last few months. I need to put pockets on my sweater, but I'm just surprised what I've been able to complete.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. That really means so much that so many of you came to hang out a little bit with me and share your experiences. I'm going to answer a couple questions. Approximately how many people are members? I think we are currently around 400. At last look, some of those are trials from coming from the summit. And that number will, wane and wax. It goes up and down a little bit as time goes. And I saw your email. Yes. Oh, Judith, if there's something you would like to share, just let me know. I'm happy to. Is it possible to try the trial? Yes, I'll put that link again in the chat. It's knithappysummit.com/trial. I always do my best to make the links easy, to give you short links that are easy to remember. Like our Zoom link is knithappysummit.com/Zoom. So I try to make everything as easy as I possibly can. I want to go just quickly share the classroom so that you know what you would be looking at. Thank you. Anita says very intuitive. I try. Let me switch and share my screen, and I will put the classroom up on the screen. If I bring this here, did I lose it? No, I think we're still good. Okay. Just because I don't want to be looking back and forth at my other monitor. So this is the Stitch Society membership classroom, and I want to just give you a quick tour, and then we'll wrap things up. I want to make sure that it's on the screen. So there's where we start here. So there's a little welcome from me. There is a new member guide that has a couple of videos from me. This is something I made recently, so our longtime friends might not even know it's there, but it has been in the classroom. So there's a welcome video with some first steps, like how to log in, how to use the calendar, a tour of the classroom, a link to join the community, how to access, how to get the most out of your membership. All of that stuff is in there. Speaking of the membership calendar, so there's a few different ways to access it. There is an embedded Google Calendar right on the page. So you don't have to go anywhere else, do anything. You can see what the events are right there. And then there is also the option to add it to any of your digital calendars, just like I did with the Summit calendar. So whether you use Apple, Google, Outlook, Yahoo, or Office for your digital calendar, if you use one, but you also have access to on the screen, and there's a little printer icon if you would prefer to print it out, stick it on the fridge or by your knitting chair. I try to make it as accessible in any format that I can. Link to join our private Facebook group. The Zoom link is in there. Information about your monthly pattern code. The monthly pattern codes are sent on the 15th of the month. So I am sending out everyone's code later today. It's on my to-do list for today. It's all set up. I just have to write the email for you all. And those codes are good for 3 months, just over 3 months. So I send them on the 15th and they're good for 3 months plus like the 2 weeks. So to the end of the third month. I do it that way because members come and go. And so if I posted the code in the group, then people who it would have like a whole list of codes, or they'd be able to access codes from like 3 months ago if they only just joined. So to try to keep it fair for everyone, you'll get an email from me once a month. The emails are very explicit in what they are. So it will say your monthly pattern code is here, and you can just click on it. It's a Ravelry code, and there's a link to click to add it directly to your cart, and then you have those 3 months plus to use it. The chit chat link on Zoom, the information about how to update your billing details or to cancel or pause your membership. I don't want you to be in a membership that you don't want to be in. Monthly membership, you can cancel anytime. The 6 month is you get a discount, and it is a commitment, like a prepayment of the 6 month. The same with the annual is a prepayment of the annual. But you can click here. There is a form that will hopefully open. And so an explanation, and I do ask, please allow 5 business days to process your pause or cancellation for the next billing cycle. So what that means is that next billing cycle, meaning if you're monthly, then you would be canceling for you wouldn't get billed again. So the following month, you'd get to keep your membership until the end of that month. The same with 6 months. So say you're 4 months in and you decide that you don't want to renew. That's okay. I want you to be part of it because you want to be part of it. So at that 4 month mark, you can fill in this form, and then we will manually cancel your membership at the end of your current payment period. The same thing with the 12 months. If you cancel through your payment processor, Stripe or PayPal, then my system will automatically pull you out of the membership at the time. So this allows us to delay your cancellation so you can enjoy the full time, the amount of time that you've paid for. So ask for your name, your email, what membership period you had signed up for. And then someone had asked, so you can switch if you have an annual after the year is over, or 6 months after that is over. If you would like to then switch to monthly membership, you can do that. You can pause for a month, 2 or 3 months at a time, but I do ask that you do that just like once per 12-month period, because there is time and energy put into to pause it and to reactivate it, or you can cancel your membership. There are other questions, but they are optional. So I always like to know if there's anything else you want to share, and if you have thoughts, something that you want to share with me, but you don't have to fill in those boxes. Those are not required fields. at all. I just need to know who you are and your email and all of that to look up your account. And then going back to the beginning, so there are workshops that are all included. So everything from learn to fix your own mistakes, lace knitting, cable knitting, mosaic knitting, brioche, double knitting, tiny treasures from the top down or from the toe up. We did Fair Isle knitting and we did steeking. We steeked a coffee cup cozy. Someone asked about crochet. We have a Granny Day Square celebration that was for Granny Square Day. So there is all kinds of lessons about Granny Squares in there. Those are all included with your membership. We have Fiber Friends chat. So these are little interviews that I have done with some of my favorite people in the fiber world. There's me and Dawn, other fellow designers and dyers, and people in the yarn world. And Beth is one of them. She's one of our lovely speakers. Irina from Fiber Chats, if you follow her, she came to chat. So those are interviews. Those are coming back as soon as time allows when the summit moves up. And downloads and resources are in here for you as well. So there's a stitch and symbol cheat sheet. It's a 16-page PDF with all kinds of chart symbols and what they actually mean. This is a yarn, a needle and hook size. So this gives you the yarn weight, like the Craft Yarn Council yarn weights. You might have seen these symbols. The types of category of yarn it is, the gauge for knitting, a recommended needle size, the crochet, and recommended hook size. This is, I talk about my husband. He built a calculator. So you'll just make a copy of it and you can use this to calculate how much yarn you used in a project. So say it was 100 grams in the skein. And let's say it was Cascade 220 and you used 75 grams in your project. You weighed it on a food scale, a kitchen scale, or a postal scale. And then, so now you know how many yards per gram you used, the amount of yards you actually used in the project, and you can estimate, you can round up by 10% so you don't run out of yarn. So this is good if you do test knitting for fellow designers or you just want to keep track of how much yarn you're using. These are project tracker cards that help you keep track of hook size, yarn. Will it let me rotate? Rotate. There we go. So you can put these pattern name, designer source, who you're making it for, when you started, when you finished, needles used, gauge, yarn details, and other notes. And you can just pop those in your project bag and have all of that information handy, especially if you are someone like me who frequently takes needles off of a work in progress to cast on another work in progress. Does that sound familiar? This I designed for you all. It's a knitting habit tracker if you'd like to make knitting a daily habit. These little yarn balls are numbered by the day of the month and you can color them in as you go and decide what that means for you. Is it 15 minutes? Is it an hour? Is it 4 hours? There are also printable project tags in here for you for your handmade gifts. Some of them are sweet and some of them are not so sweet. This took me forever. I used the good yarn. So just little tags you can hang or use when you give a handmade gift. That was a coloring page from a shawl of mine to help sort out what colors you were using. So those are some of the resources in there. Bonuses. This is one of my favorite things that I have done. I actually brought in a physical therapist. Her name is Emma Green. She is known as the tennis elbow queen. She is a published author and she did a whole Zoom session for us. It was about an hour, how to stay healthy when stitching, how to keep your hands and your joints healthy. So you get access to watch that as well. And there is also a short little timestamps and a short little 4-minute warm up stretching sequence for stitchers. Plus her dog pays a visit during the session as well. So you can watch that. the Stitch and Technique library grows as you all need more help and ask for more questions. Will it let me? I don't know if it will let me load that right now. It's given because I'm not really logged in. I'm logged in into the admin account. And then there are Stitch Society perks, which are discounts on from fellow yarn people in the world. So I think that's pretty much sums up everything that you get, everything that is included in the membership. I'm going to go through and see if there are any questions that you all have. I want to make sure I've answered everything that you might be wondering. So let me turn my screen sharing off and head back over to Zoom. And thank you again, everyone, for being here and joining us. That was the link for the trial. I'll drop that in the chat again. I thought I saw a question that I didn't get to answer. Yes, Jen asked if these are US prices. They are US prices. And there was something, yes, Renee said, do you offer support for any pattern or is it specific to my pattern? So I absolutely offer it for my patterns. If there is a part of a pattern that you are struggling with and you need help with, you can send me. I don't want you to send me a full PDF of anyone's pattern because I believe very strongly in protecting intellectual copyright of fellow designers. So if it is like just it's a paragraph of something that you're not understanding what the instructions are, you can send me just that bit, and that is not violating copyright. You're allowed to do that just to, for getting help. If I feel like I need more of the pattern in order to be able to help you, I may ask you to send me the link to where you purchased it, and I may purchase it for myself. It'll just go in the collection of all the patterns that I don't have time to knit that I just keep on collecting. So I don't mind buying a pattern if I need to. But I do ask if I need to purchase a pattern, we keep it to like one every other month or so. But I usually can help from just kind of a snippet of a pattern. But yeah, if I was buying patterns every week for every member, I'd have to raise the price to cover that. Sue said you're in Wisconsin. You were hoping I was at least from Minnesota. Ashley Wempe is a designer and she is in Minnesota. I don't know if she knows of any classes, but she's one of the speakers. So you can reach out to her and see maybe she knows. And I'm just going to quickly scan the chat. Terry says if we paid for the upgrade to see the summit later, is that the same as the Stitch Society? So it is not the same as the Stitch Society. Those are separate things. But if you paid for the Happy Knitters Toolkit, which is the one that gives you all of the bonuses, then you get a 30-day trial, which is in your classroom. I can actually show you where to find that. Let me go back to sharing my screen. And this way you know where you can find that. So if I go to Happy Knitters Toolkit, you know what, let me find the right place for you. Just give me 1 second. And I will pull that up for you. So if I exit the preview, and I'll pull that up and I'll show you where that is. So all right. So now I am logged in there. I can go ahead and share that again. So this is the VIP Happy Knitters Toolkit for this summit. And in here, there is this section where it says join the Stitch Society. So you can click on view this module. It tells you a little bit about what is included in the membership, just so you have it all right there in front of you. A list of all the workshops and everything included, my email in case you have a question. If you're already a Stitch Society member, then this trial is not for you. This is for new folks. And then there is a simple form So it says this is the monthly price, but you will pay $0 on the day that you sign up, and you get 30 days free. It does start the day that you activate it. So amount due now is $0, and then starting in 1 month is $34 a month. If you would prefer the 6-month or the annual, just reach out to me and I will send you a link for that. And then your first name, last name, and your payment information. So you can use either of these if you wish. You can pay with Link or with a credit card, and it will also ask for your full first name and last name, just a quirk of the payment system. You can also pay with PayPal, so then you would click PayPal, click the gold button to do that, and you are agreeing to the terms and conditions of the membership when you do that. And that's really should be all that you would need to do to activate the membership in the classroom if you have the toolkit. This is if you wanted the trial, the Knit Happy Summit, it should be /trial. I think this is redirecting. Let's double check the link and make sure it is working. Yes, okay. So this is for the free 14 days that everyone in the summit has access to if you don't have the toolkit, and access to the 30 days. And again, talks about the membership. Your monthly subscription payments will automatically begin on day 15. It's a 14 days free right there. So then starting in 2 weeks would be the $34 a month. Again, if you want the longer prepayment term, then just send me an email and I'll get you set up with that. And then the rest of the form is exactly the same. And I think that's it. Does anyone else have any other questions for me? Anything else? Anita says the classroom space is very organized and thorough, and the lessons in each model can be checked off as you complete so you can see your progress easily. Yes, that makes it very easy to put it down and go do something else, maybe another project or just life, and come back and know exactly where you were up to. Renee said, do the tutorials include continental and English style demos of the technique? Typically, yes, especially if the technique changes a little bit. So I'm a continental knitter. When I worked in the yarn store, I had to learn English style so that I could help all the knitters. So I can knit both ways, and I typically will do that. Is there a section on Intarsia in this membership? I don't currently have a lesson or a workshop on Intarsia. Maybe that is coming. We will see. I think in the last summit we had a speaker who taught about that. Or maybe that was a different summit. There's so many summits. All right, friends, I see one more question in the Q&A box. Regina says, will we be prompted when our free trial is over to then purchase a membership? Yes, you should get an email from me that says that your trial is ending soon, and gives you the link to the form if you would like to cancel. Otherwise, it will automatically convert to a paid membership and it will renew until you cancel. So if you are enjoying the membership, then you can. The trial is only during the summit. Yes, the cart will close May 24th. And so you'll have until May 24th to activate the 14-day trial. Anita said, did you mention the price guarantee for the duration of the membership? I did not. That's a great point. Thank you, Anita. Anita's always thinking of the questions that everyone's thinking, and I am forgetting to answer. So the membership started 4 years ago, and over time, the price has increased. But my founding members are still paying the same rate that they paid the day that they joined, and they will always continue. And the same goes, whatever membership price from when you sign up will be your membership price for the lifetime of your active membership, meaning that if you, not the pausing, but if you cancel your membership, and then you come back at some point in the future, and we have had a few members who have done that. So if you pause it, you keep your rate. If you cancel and then you decide to come back, then you would be rejoining at whatever the current rate is. In full disclosure, I hadn't raised the price for like 2 years, and I recently, so I don't raise it all that frequently, but I did raise it in December as we celebrated 4 years of the membership, which for memberships is a pretty extensive time. Not all of them last long. So I don't have any plans to raise it very soon. So we'll probably sit at this price for a bit, but whatever price when you join is the price that will be for the lifetime of your active membership. Let me just see. Yes, you go by what you can remember from my past spiels. Yes. All right, friends, I'm going to let you go. If you do have the Happy Knitters Toolkit, or you are a current Stitch Society member, you are invited to join me for our Stitch session this evening. Yesterday was open to all. This will be a smaller, more intimate group. Yesterday we had a guest co-host. Today is just me, and I hope that you'll join me. That'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern. It's about just after 4 now. And you will get a reminder email for the VIP Stitch sessions, which is today at 7 o'clock and tomorrow at, I think it's at 4 p.m. There is a different Zoom link because if I use the same Zoom link, then everyone can join us. So that Zoom link will be in your email about a half hour before we start, and it will be in the Toolkit classroom. I'm going to make a separate section that says VIP Stitch session, so you don't have to go digging for it. And then you'll just click on it and it will be there for today and tomorrow. That's just for today at 7 and tomorrow I think it's at 4 offhand. But the rest of the summit is still continuing with the same Zoom link you used to join me today. If you have questions that I didn't answer, please feel free to reach out, send me an email, let me know what you're wondering. One of my mentors and coaches, Sandra, has said to me that being on the fence is the most uncomfortable place to be. And that is true. So I don't want you to be on the fence. The trial is free. You're welcome to join, and you can cancel. If you have questions, something holding you back, reach out. Let me know what you're wondering. And Deb, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, you just have a question from the other Laura that was
did I
here
miss that?
today about the trial period because they just had hand surgery.
Oh, let me look for the question. Thank you so much for letting me know so I don't miss it. Thank you. Let me see. Laura.
That
Larry is Laura.
420.
So the trial is only during the summit, just had hand surgery. So the last day to sign up for the trial is May 24th for the 2-week trial. For the 30-day trial, that's like one of the summit bonuses. So you have until June 24th for the 30-day trial if you have the toolkit. 14-day trial the trial offer ends on the 24th. But maybe you want to come and hang out on Zoom, and we'll have our next Stitch session for members is May 28th. So you can come hang out, you can watch some workshops if you would like, and see what kind of content is in there. See if you like, the learning style, the format, all of that stuff. And I hope that you feel better soon. I hope your hand heals quickly and all of that. 524 is great. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all my Stitch Society family for showing up and being here and sharing your experiences and your thoughts. It really does mean the world to me. So thank you, everyone. And I will talk to you all soon. Take care, friends.